Hello, beautiful souls. I am Awakened Soul, and today we're going to be setting up our next targets on Ethereum. It's going to be a more complex video because I want this to be as thorough and as educational as possible. I want you to be ready for your next setup. Starting off with the psychology of the market. Understand that one good trade a day is key. Understand that you're not going to catch every move, but if you have a strategy and you set up your charts, you will be able to take those good trades, right? So let's go ahead and start with our monthly. I like to use my 12 and 26 EMAs and just visualize it, right? And write it down. Okay, monthly price action when it's above the 12.26, it's considered a bullish trend. When its price actions below 12 and 26, it's considered a bearish trend, right? So let's go ahead and place one touch, two touches. Monthlies are going to be red, and one touch, and when it crosses to the bottom, if it crosses, we're going to give you a bearish target. The way I get my bearish targets is using this pivot highs and lows indicator. I mark right where the highest peak is and right where it intersects, right here. This would be my monthly target. Remove your vertical line around 343. Highlight it so we know, and don't forget this is a target trend line. And then let's, just like we get a bearish target, we need to get a bullish target. As technical analysts, we need to understand there's always potential for both scenarios to play out. So I have one touch, two touches here. So if this were to go up to the upside, this is our lowest price action of 877. I'm going to place a vertical line here, and right where it intersects, this is where I'll be setting my target. Okay, beautiful. And that is your monthly targets. That could take a year to play out. Okay, let's move into, oh no, I forgot, almost forgot. Let's get our monthly range too. This would be our low, our support, and this will be our high, our resistance. Okay, and as we go through our time frames, we're going to start narrowing down into our price action. Now let's go into our weekly. Within our weekly, same thing, we're going to set our range. We're going to use that high. Weeklies are oranges. I want you to get comfortable with my colors, as sometimes I make videos without my voice. So oranges would be weekly targets. So we have our weekly range here. I'm going to turn off, I'm going to turn on my higher high, lower low indicators. I overlap two. One is always set at 30. One is set at 9, 3, or 6. I like to play around with it. So this will just give me a good visual on where to place my trend lines in case you need help. So one touch, two touches, right? And that's orange. One touch, two touches from this high to this lower high. So where would my targets be? So remember, let's move in here. So let's say we would come down and cross this weekly target. This would be my highest peak right now. So my target would be based on this high price action at 1741. I would put my vertical line here and then mark it right where it intersects. Change it to orange. And this would be my weekly target. Okay. Just like we get a bearish one, we get a bullish one. Let's say price action goes above this weekly trend line. Our lowest price action is 10,070. So we're going to place vertical line here. And right where it intersects your trend line, we have 1893. That would be our weekly target. Beautiful. Okay. Let's move on to our daily. Within our daily, oh, we didn't make note. In our weekly, It's important to make note. Price action is above 1226. It's technically not bullish just because the 12 has not crossed over the 26, but price action is above, so it's undetermined here. But it's good for you to just visualize it and make those notes. Let's go into the daily. Within our daily, we're going to set our range, right? But before we do that, I want you to understand the cycle of the market. The cycle of the market is a cycle that repeats. It's the Forex master pattern, and it's important to understand it, and you could visualize it in the daily. So this is a contraction phase, a consolidation. After a contraction phase, you have a trend up, you have a contraction phase, trend down, contraction phase, trend up, contraction phase, trend down, contraction phase, trend up, contraction phase. Okay, so right now on the daily, we are in a contraction phase. Within every contraction phase, there's a pattern. Okay, so let's go ahead in here. So the most common patterns, and it's good for you to understand, is the Wyckoff pattern, and I will make a quick visual here. How does the Wyckoff pattern works, or how could you learn it? So just really quick, I want you to see something. Look for the H's. H's are key. You're going to have a down movement, H. You're going to have a ripsaw, consolidation, and up. And that's how they move. So again, down, H, ripsaw, consolidation, and up. So it's something for you to remember. And the Wyckoff could also be used upside down. Let me show you. So it could be used in this form too. Sometimes you'll see upside movement, consolidation, then you'll see the ripsaw, then you'll see that H upside down, and then you know it's coming back down. So it's key to understand this pattern in my perspective. You could also use it, I mean, and if you turn it around, let me show you, even like here, right? You could have a down movement, consolidation, then you could have your ripsaw, then your H, and then up. Cool, huh? So I am gonna update my Wyckoff video. I'm sorry I haven't done that, but I do have one. Another way you could look at it, this is for me the most common, especially in reversals. You have your upside down H, then you have your ripsaw, consolidation, and then down. Okay, so it's really key to understand that it plays out a lot. Okay, so within each pattern, you could find upside down H's or H's, and it'll help you like this. You can see a big H here, and you can see that, gives you a clue. Okay, we're going up. Here it looks like an upside down H, so that gives me a clue that the next move will be down. Okay, so in our daily, we're in the daily. Oh, another thing I want to share with you is, like I mentioned, those are my drawings here. Okay, every contraction area is going to have a pattern. Understand the Forex patterns, because within every contraction phase, you'll be able to see a bull flag, a bear flag, a double top, a rising wedge, a falling wedge. So always keep those patterns handy, because in my perspective, they are key and important to see the next move. So the Wyckoff and the Forex patterns, like I said, every pattern will have either a diamond, a bull flag, a rising wedge, a falling wedge, and that just helps out understanding what's coming next. So within this contraction phase, again, we're going to turn on our pivot highs and lows. Let me see less. Okay, we're gonna set our daily range and we're gonna use yellow. So our high for the day is also our monthly high. Orange, no, our weekly high. So I'm just gonna just highlight it so I know. So this is my monthly high, my daily high, sorry, and my daily low, and it's also the same as my weekly high, my weekly low. Okay, and a good observation is this was our previous daily higher low, but we came down and created a new low. So okay, now that I have my range, I'm going to turn on my higher high, lower low indicators. And again, what I'm focused at this time is seeing if I could find a pattern, connecting trend lines, so and focusing more than anything on price action. So one touch, two touches, and this is going to be yellow because we're on the daily. One touch, two touches, right? So we have a pennant here. So if we were to break to the downside, this is our highest price action, correct? This is our highest price action. So you're going to place vertical line here, and right where it intersects, that's going to be your day target. Let's go ahead and highlight it. Beautiful. And then if we would go to the upside, right, this would be our lowest peak because it would just keep crawling up to the upside. So my target would be, vertical line would be here, and my target would be right here. Perfect. So let me remove the vertical lines, highlight it, and again, make that observation with your 1226 EMAs. I just started using the 200 and the 800, and that's key for uptrend. Okay, hold on. Ooh, we get some alarm going on. Okay. So now that I'm here, okay, so now that we have our daily targets, our daily trend lines, we're gonna go ahead and move into our 4-hour. Okay, so within our 4-hour, same thing, we're gonna set our trend lines, our support and resistance. So this will be our support, and 4 hours are green. And we have a high here, so this would be my range. Okay, so within this range, I'm going to find some trend lines that could help me and guide me for my next target. And at the 4-hour, we're in a bearish trend because the price action is below the 12 and the 26. So even if the market is moving, don't worry about it. Like I said, we're not here to catch every move, right? We're fishing here. We're here to catch a fish, not all the fish. So this is my 4-hour trend line, and my 4-hour support will be the same as my daily support. So this would be my target down here for the 4 hours too, if we cross this daily trend line. But let's say we went to the upside, this would be my lowest price action, right? Place a trend line here, a vertical line here, and right where it intersects, that's where I would be expecting a day target, a 4-hour target. And it kind of like corresponds or correlates to like this day wedge here, right? So now that we're here, I want us to keep focusing in. Look at your RSI. This is my settings for my RSI. I did change them. It's 63.5 for upper band and RSI 32 for the lower band. So see if you find any divergence, anything that you could visualize. Sometimes we could have some good divergence or whatnot. Nothing right now. It's just playing with everyone's emotions. Okay, so one thing that I like to do when I'm also trading, when I'm in my 4 hours, is finding, like, go into your 1 hour, right, and just visualize it. It's hard with this wick right now. Go into your 30 minutes. I like to set my ranges at 30 minutes. This being my lower high. This being my lower low, right? So for me to take a trade along right now, because we created a new high, this lower low has to, of course, hold. But I want to see follow through, just because, okay, so we broke this lower high, right? That's good. But you don't want to enter till it confirms a higher low. So if this higher low is confirmed, that's good, because that means I'll continue to the upside, right? And that's how I usually trade. If we break this low, let it break, retrace, and then enter at lower highs. Where would my stop loss be? Right above my, like, lower high. If we enter at a lower high here, my stop loss would be, somewhere here. You have to make that judgment. How much are you willing to lose a day? Usually what I do as a day trader, I have a minimum, right? If I get stopped out more than 2 times, I'm done. If I lose more than $20, I'm done for the day. I'm not gonna lose more than $20, and I move on. That means my setups were wrong. That means my TA was wrong. That means I need to reassess my charts. So set a range. When you do your TA, right now I'm expecting it's right on the edge right here of this day trend line. If we break this day trend line, we're coming to lower targets of 1474. So set an alarm. There's no need for you to just stare at the charts. It's good to actually look at the wicks, because the wicks could tell you a story, right? If you find dojis, set an alarm on your trend line. Set an alarm on your support and resistance, on your range, and wait for that breakout, retrace, and then continuation to the upside. And that's how I usually trade. Be patient, just come into the charts, see what they're doing, and if they're not ready for you, because an example I think was last night or throughout this weekend, right? An example like this was a whole range. How do you trade this range here? It's almost impossible to trade it, right? Is it worth the fees? Is it worth the headache? For some people it's not. Of course, you could go to the 1 minute and attempt to scalp it up and down. And the way I would scalp it is using my RSI here. Just have the RSI be at your side when you're scalping it. Mark a trend from highs to low. Whenever the RSI gets overbought, you could short. Also using your fixed range volume profile, right? So I would pull it in the 30 minutes, because I like to make my ranges in the 30 minutes. So I would be here. Okay, I'll set my point of control, mark it, and then use your RSI on the 5 minutes. I think 5 minutes is good for a scalp, right? And then consider longing anything under the RSI, like a oversold, and shorting anything above the overboughts. It's smart if you short above point of control and if you long under point of control. So keep that in consideration. Of course, you have to know, like right here, longing. Sure, it's dangerous because we have this daily trend line, but if you're smart, you're going to put a tight stop loss, because we know if it breaks this daily trend line, we're coming down. So be smart about that and set your stop loss. It's okay to take a long right now because look, the RSI is oversold, right? It just wicked down. It didn't pass that daily trend line. It looks like it's just playing with everyone's emotions here. So if you long here, set your stop loss really tight, because again, we know this is a day trend line. And maybe it'll continue up. It's a fishing game. You have to set your alarms. You have to set your place. Then allow the market to come to you. Let's say we break this to the downside right now. It's fine. Let it break to the downside. Just look at it. Be at peace with it. Right? How would you know to take a short? Like I said, for me, if it breaks this yellow trend line, that is my daily trend line. This is a 4-hour. What is 58? Oh, this is the range, right? This is the higher low. So if it breaks the yellow trend line, and if it breaks this, for me, support, we know we're coming down. That's how I see it. And if we come down, it's fine. Let it break. You need to make that judgment, because for me, this is major trend line. So if it breaks the major trend line, we're coming low. That's it. There's right, and that's just how I feel about the market. Within this area too, see if you could find a pattern. That's something we didn't do. So we know how the market structure, right? Consolidation trend, consolidation trend. So right here, this is a consolidation area, this whole area here. So maybe we could find a pattern within this. Maybe we could find a megaphone or rising wedge. Connect some trend lines, do some TA, right? If we connect here, or we connect there, maybe a megaphone here, possibly. Another key trend lines that I like to use when I'm in a contraction phase like this is just focus on it within 30 minutes. Like I said, I like to set my range, but even the 1 hour in, just like I do my trend lines for the 4 hours, draw some trend lines, 2 touch trend lines. It went up, then it came down, then it went up again, right? Then it came down, then it went up, right? So right now, technically, let's see if our 12 and 26 EMAs have crossed on the daily. Nope. No. Oh, what a wick there. Right, just look at it, see how this trend line, so we crossed it, we went bullish, now it seems like it's retesting, or it's breaking back to the downside of this pennant here. So make those observations. So this pennant went up, and it looks like we're retesting it, and if we come back down into here, that means we might come down to the bottom. So it's important to understand those patterns, in my perspective. And because this was a bearish pennant and it broke to the upside, and now we're coming back in. So this still could continue being a bearish pennant, and we come back in and consolidate it within here and then fall to the downside, right? So something to consider. Make some trend lines and look at price action above, below. Okay, this is bearish now on the 15 minutes. Let's go to the 1 minute, right? It looks like now it's crawling back up to the it's a dangerous game, let me tell you. But if you're smart, you'll take what you make the day of, set it up, place your stop loss, use your higher high, lower lows, understand where the pattern, understand where you're at in the contraction phase. And like I said, one good trade a day makes the day. Don't expect to become a millionaire overnight. Expect to compound, right? You're fishing for a fish to feed your family every day. It's not about how big the fish is. It's about bringing fish home every day. So I hope you learned something new. May the force be with you, and remember to do everything with love.